Things got a little tense in Montana last night. As you might be aware or might not be aware, there is a special election going on between a Democrat, Rob Quist, who's a progressive backed by Bernie Sanders, and a Republican named Greg Gianforte. Now, there's a lot of news outlets, including local Fox affiliate and Fox News itself, that have reported that Gianforte, a Trump-aligned Republican, had allegedly body-slammed a Guardian reporter named Ben Jacobs. Now, there's a Fox affiliate crew that says that when Montana House candidate Greg Gianforte grabbed Jacobs by the neck and slammed him to the ground. Now, here's a report. Jacobs said he approached Gianforte, former technology executive, at a meet and greet and event Wednesday night at the candidate's office in Bozeman, Montana. Jacobs allegedly went up to Gianforte to get his opinion on the Congressional Budget Office review of the American Health Care Act, as he was preparing for a television interview with that Fox station. All of a sudden, Gianforte seemed to snap, Jacobs said. Quote, he grabbed my recorder, and the next thing I knew, I'd gone from being vertical to horizontal on the floor. He was then on top of me and wailing on me. So, we do have some audio what happened, since he had his recorder going at the time to try to get his answer. So let's listen to that audio from The Guardian.
And what we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the Guardian?
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
You'd like me to get the hell out there, I'd also like to call the police. Can I get you guys' names?
Hey, you gotta leave.
He just body slammed me.
You gotta leave.
He gets body slammed. Hey, you gotta leave. Amazing, right? So, okay, now you've heard the audio, so let's get an account from somebody who also overheard this. Now, this is BuzzFeed reporter Alexis Levinson going on CNN later to describe what she had heard and saw.
This was billed as a campaign meet and greet in the press availability. I was standing in sort of a campaign office, and there was a little side office with a closing door off the side. I was in a room with a lot of volunteers, the candidate's wife, people making phone calls, get out the vote stuff. Gianforte walked into this side room, and there was a camera crew in there. We didn't know at the time who the camera crew belonged to. And I stayed there. Ben, who had originally been standing with me, walked into that room to kind of listen in on what the interview was, what was being said in the interview. And I wasn't really paying attention until all of a sudden I heard just a giant crash. I saw sort of feet fly in the air. The door to that room was about half open, so I couldn't see the whole thing, but I heard the crash. I saw his feet fly in the way that someone's feet can fly only when they're ending up on the ground.
Gianforte's campaign says that this reporter, Ben Jacobs, was being overly aggressive, that he was pushing a recorder into the candidate's face. Did you see anything like that?
I couldn't see anything that was happening in the room. I didn't hear anything before the crash. And then after the crash, there was very audible yelling that I think everyone heard on Ben's recording.
You've never seen any sort of aggression or him snap before this?
I've only been here since Tuesday. This was my fourth campaign event I was attending of Gianforte's, and this was very exceptional.
Oh, so I see. Oh, so Gianforte's campaign says, hey, man, he was being aggressive to us. We're just defending ourselves. In fact, here you have Bozeman Chronicle basically reporting on what the Gianforte campaign had actually said. Now, this comes from a spokesman, Shane Scanlon, who issued a statement on this. Basically, he said Jacobs was asked to leave. After asking Jacobs to lower the recorder, Jacobs declined. According to the statement, Greg then attempted to grab the phone that was pushed in his face. Jacob grabbed Greg's wrist and then spun away from Greg, pushing them both to the ground. It's unfortunate that this aggressive behavior from a liberal journalist created the scene at our campaign volunteer barbecue. So, now, see, he was aggressive. He was pushing a recorder in my face. So that gave me permission to pick him up by his neck and slam him on the ground. Come on, man. Seriously? Those aggressive liberal news people. But wait a minute. I thought liberal journalists were all latte sipping beta male cucks. Now suddenly they're over aggressive and they have to be taken care of with maximum force to protect themselves. Come on, dude. Really? Get your story straight here. Would you? Now remember, Alexis Levinson, the BuzzFeed reporter, said that there was a camera crew inside that office who saw everything. Well, so who did that belong to? Well, it turns out that was the Fox News crew that was inside. Now, the Fox reporters later on put up their account of what they saw. Now, so let's see if that matches the Gianforte's account of what happened. Now, this is the Fox reporter is named Alicia Acuna. Now, she writes, Faith, Keith, and I arrived early to set up for the interview in a room adjacent to another room where volunteer barbecue was to take place. As the time for the interview neared, Gianforte came into the room, we exchanged pleasantries, and made small talk about restaurants in Bozeman. During that conversation, another man, who we now know as Ben Jacobs of The Guardian, walked into the room with a voice recorder, put it up to Gianforte's face, and began asking if he had a response to the newly released Congressional Budget Office report on the American Health Care Act. Gianforte told him that he would get to him later. Jacobs persisted with his question. Gianforte told him to talk to his press guy, Shane Scanlon. Now, so far, that seems to match up. Jacobs walked into the room, asked a question, continued to ask that question. Now, apparently, Gianforte got annoyed. Now, is that annoying? Yeah, of course. But being annoying doesn't really give anybody else permission to chokeslam somebody. Okay? It just doesn't. Now, let me get to the rest of the Fox News account. Gianforte grabbed Jacobs by the neck with both hands and slammed him to the ground behind him. I watched in disbelief as Gianforte began to punching the man as he moved on top of the reporter and began yelling something to the effect of, "I'm sick and tired of this." Now she continues, to be clear, at no point did any of us who witnessed this assault see Jacobs show any form of physical aggression towards Gianforte, who left the area after giving statements to local sheriff deputies. So not only did this guy attack a member of the press, but he had his press guy make up a bullshit story in order to blame the reporter for being attacked. It's his fault. He was the aggressive one. I'm not aggressive at all. I just chokeslammed somebody, but I'm not the aggressive one. It's the liberal. It's all the liberal media's fault. Classic. Look, I can get that dealing with the press might not be an easy thing. But this guy, look, I don't care who you are. I don't care what party you're in. And, of course, the Republicans, they're like, oh, they're only going after him because he's a Republican. Really? I'm pretty sure if, let's say, Hillary Clinton slapped somebody across the face, you don't think that we'd report on that? I certainly know Breitbart would be all over. Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her up. Come on, man. It doesn't matter, though. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. Somebody from the press was attacked by a politician. That is not cool. That is not what you do. Okay? But again, you can't do this to reporters, but you do have, as I'm going to show you later on in another segment, you will, of course, have Trump supporters and a lot of conservatives defending this guy. Now, Gianforte has been charged with misdemeanor assault. So another thing you might hear from the right wing is, well, he's got a right to throw people out because he's trespassing. Well, you have a right to maybe you do have a right to remove people, but not to slam them onto the ground first. So again, blaming the victim, right? Now, this is from the local Bozeman paper, the Bozeman Chronicle. Gianforte, following multiple interviews and an investigation by the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office, it was determined that there was probable cause to issue a citation to Greg Gianforte for misdemeanor assault. The sheriff's office sent a statement on its website. The statement added that the nature of the injuries did not necessarily meet the statutory elements of felony assault. As a result of the citation, Gianforte is scheduled to appear in Gallatin County Justice Court between now and June 7th. So, look, the thing is, you can't go around assaulting journalists. And this is a very, very scary time if you're a journalist, if you're in news, because we're seeing more and more of it. Now, you can call it the Trump effect if you want. And maybe, I mean, look, you do have a lot of attacks on the media from the president. Not physical attacks, but, you know, things like the media is the enemy of America. That's something that the president did say. Now, of course, some nut jobs, and I don't think he meant it like they're the enemy, you must destroy them. Or maybe he did, I don't know. But you do have some nut jobs that think, absolutely, we need to destroy the media. I just didn't know that one of those nut jobs would end up running for Congress. Look, Montana, regardless of party affiliation, you really want somebody like this representing you? Somebody who snaps under questioning? What if that's a constituent? Do you want him attacking constituents that ask about healthcare, about the stuff that he's going to be voting on? Do you want somebody like that representing you? Or would you rather have somebody who, for example, wants to get Medicare for all, pass legal recreational marijuana, and fund the arts? Somebody who's a little bit more even-tempered. Maybe somebody who's backed by Bernie Sanders. I'm just saying. It's your call, Montana. It's your call. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.